A very good morning. My name is Mrs. Rajkumari Chouhan. I teach in Anjuman Islam A.A.K English Secondary School. Today, I am going to explain the topic Civil Disobedience Movement of Standard 8 History Textbook. So let's begin with the topic. As in the last chapter, we have studied about the non-cooperation movement. So after that, a resolution of complete independence was passed in the Lahore session. Mahatma Gandhi decided to launch the Civil Disobedience Movement. Before beginning this movement, Gandhiji put up various demands in front of the British government. One of the important demands was to cancel the salt Satyagraha and monopoly of British government for manufacture of salt. But because the demands of Gandhiji were rejected by the government, he decided to launch Satyagraha all over India by breaking the Salt Act. Dandi March. As we all know, salt is an important ingredient in the food of common people. Hence, it was unjust to impose tax on an essential commodity like salt. Gandhiji chose Dandi, a seashore in Gujarat, to begin the salt satyagraha. On 12 March 1930, Gandhiji set out from Sabarmati Ashram with its 78 followers for launching the salt satyagraha. A distance of approximately 385 km was covered on foot, and Gandhiji delivered speeches in the villages on the way. Through the speeches, Gandhiji appealed to the people to be fearless and join the movement. On 6th April, Gandhiji broke the Salt Act by picking up the salt laying on the seashore of Dandi, and the civil disobedience movement started all over the country. Next was the Peshawar Satyagraha. Khan Abdul Jafar Khan was the most loyal follower of Mahatma Gandhi. He was also known as Frontier Gandhi. He had founded the organization called Khudaye Khidmatgar. On 23rd April 1930, he started Satyagraha at Peshawar. The town was in the hands of the Satyagrahis nearly for a week. The British government gave orders to the Garhwal regiment to carry out open firing on the Satyagrahis. But Chandra Singh Thakur, an officer of Garhwal regiment, refused to open fire. He was court-martialed and was given a severe punishment. The British government found itself in a difficult situation due to the Satyagraha launched by Mahatma Gandhi. On 4th May 1930, Gandhiji was arrested. Next was the Darshana Satyagraha. The Satyagraha at Darshana in Gujarat was led by Sarojini Naidu. The police lathi charged on the Satyagrahis who came forward to break the Salt Act. The Satyagrahis silently tolerated the blows of the lathi. When they were taken away for medical aid, another batch of Satyagrahis came forward to replace them. So this is how it continued. After this, sacrifice of Babu Jenu. In Mumbai, there was an agitation against foreign goods. The vehicles transporting foreign goods were obstructed. Babu Jenu said a mill worker from Mumbai was in the forefront in this movement. A truck carrying foreign goods safeguarded by the police came in front of Babu Jenu. To stop the truck, he lay down on the road. Police threatened him, but he did not move from his place. Finally, he was crushed under the truck. So this sacrifice of Babu Jenu was inspiration to the national movement. The next one, that is Gandhi-Arvind Pact. The Prime Minister expressed the hope of participation of Indian National Congress in the second Roundtable Conference in view of appeal made by Prime Minister. The Viceroy released Mahatma Gandhi and other leaders from prison. According to this Gandhi-Arvind Pact, the British government assured that the system of responsible government would be added in the proposal of Constitution of India. And at last, they agreed to attend the Roundtable Conference. Next was the Puna Pact. As per this pact, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar represented the Dalits in the Roundtable Conference. He demanded separate electorates for Dalits. After the second Roundtable Conference, the British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald declared communal awards. According to it, Dalits were given separate electorates. This is how it was seen that Gandhi-Arvind Pact and Puna Pact was signed. The next one was the Roundtable Conference, the first Roundtable Conference. The first Roundtable Conference, Ramsay MacDonald was the chairman of this conference. Representatives of England and India participated in this conference. This included Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Sir Tej Bahadur Shapru, Barrister Jinnah, etc. In this conference, there was discussion on the various topics such as a responsible government at central level, establishment of federal system in India, and etc. The Indian National Congress was a body that represented the country without its participation. That means the participation of Indian National Congress was not allowed. So that's why this conference was meaningless. Then began the second Roundtable Conference, which was held in 1931. Mahatma Gandhi attended this conference as a representative of the Indian National Congress. Along the Indian National Congress, representatives of various castes and communities, political parties, as well as princely states were invited. The government put forth the issue of minorities in the Roundtable Conference. There were differences regarding this issue and also regarding the nature of the prospective federal constitution. So finally, Gandhiji was disappointed and returned back to India. So later on, it came up with the third conference, the third Roundtable Conference. In November 1932, the third Roundtable Conference was organized in England. The Indian National Congress boycotted the conference. Thus, this was again a meaningless. So this is how these three Roundtable Conferences were held, but it was of no use. At the end, Gandhiji returned to India from the second Roundtable Conference and he was dejected mind. He decided to restart the Civil Disobedience Movement. Gandhiji was immediately arrested. Hence, there was discontent among the people. Finally, in April 1934, Gandhiji withdrew the movement and the historic phase of Civil Disobedience Movement came to an end. So this did not lasted for a long time. So it started in 1930 and ended up in 1934. So this is how Civil Disobedience Movement was ended up. So I hope you are clear with the topic. As we have seen Dandi March, the Peshawar Satyagraha, Darshana Satyagraha, then Babu Jenu, who sacrificed his life, and the three table conference, that is the first one, second one and third one, which was meaningless because in the first conference it was the Indian National Congress were not accepted to participate in that. In the second one it was given the importance for the minorities, which Gandhiji did not like it, and in the third Roundtable Conference they themselves, that is the Indian National Congress themselves, boycotted. So this is how all the three conferences were meaningless, and at last Gandhi-Arvind Pact was signed and Puna Pact was signed, which also they signed it, but they did not fulfill the things which they said in that sign, okay, in that pact. So that was also again a meaningless, you can say, one way. So this is how Civil Disobedience Movement ended up. Thank you everyone.